Licorice pizza, a term for vinyl 12-inch long playing or LP record, named because it is black and about the same size as a pizza.
And it's time again for another edition of Licorice Pizza, the 27th edition of the show. It seems like it's been forever since I've been here. The last one was the Beatles, part three, right? Yes. And it is good to be back. I'm talking about a legendary band today. But before we get to that, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I always have problems saying that word, subscribe. All right. And don't forget about the t-shirts, Licorice Pizza t-shirts, all different colors, all different sizes for you. Okay. And what band are we going to talk about today? Legendary band, of course. The band CCR, Creedence Clearwater Revival. And don't ask me, how did they get their name? I don't know. I just know in 1968, that's when they came out with their first album, a story behind it, personally. Yeah, I saw a guy, I think it was my brother's friend again. I had this 8-track. You remember those? A lot of you don't. 8-track in there, and I looked at it, looked down, Creedence Clearwater Revival. What is that? Well, I soon found out because they took right off, 1968. On a side note, too, this is a band that never had a number one song, ever. They've had several in the top 10. They've had, I think Proud Mary was number 2. They've had a couple at number 2, but they never hit that number one position. But there's a fine line between the number one song and sales, number 7, 6. It's not a whole lot, so it really, but boy, that band recorded from 68 to 72. By the time 1972, we'll get to that. I'm not going to tell you about that right now. Let's go back to the first album and talk about some of the great songs. I Put a Spell on You, great version of that song. That's a cover version. Susie Q, yeah, another cover they did with that weird guitar in it. I'll never forget listening to that in around 68. God, that's guitar. I mean, that's a weird sound. Never heard a sound like this. Well, that's their version of Susie Q. Gloomy, that's a song you don't want to listen to on a rainy day, really. It's bad enough it's raining, right? Sometimes. Okay, some of the Porterville, great song off CCR's debut album from 1968. In Walk on the Water, every song off this album I enjoy. Great song. Now, did they have a top 10 hit off this particular album? No. But it didn't take long. And you know what rolls around? Yeah, 1969. This band recorded 3 albums in 1969. 3. We talk about the Beatles, how fast they recorded, but CCR actually recorded just as quick. That's phenomenal. Think about it. 1969 comes. Their album, I believe, was it Green River or Born in the Bayou? Bayou Country, it's called, actually. And this you can see the progression. I like this album better than their debut. Personally, Born in the Bayou, that song's got some incredible vocals by John Fogerty, man. That is just a killer song, absolutely. And Penthouse Popper, I love the title of that one, folks. Another great tune off that. Keep on Chugolin. Great song. If you've never heard that one, check that song out. And of course, Proud Mary. Oh, if there's a classic of classic songs, and it's still incredibly popular today, gets a lot of airplay. Yeah, Proud Mary. Ike and Tina Turner did it way back in the day, like 1970, 71. And they had a big hit of it as well. But you go to any jukebox, bowling alleys, bars, nightclubs, restaurants, That song was playing everywhere in 1969, Proud Mary. And their version of Good Golly Miss Molly, the Little Richard song that they had a remake of it, absolutely fabulous. What a sound, CCR. How do you explain their sound? The Bayou sound. It's John Fogerty with that tremolo guitar, his vocals, just that chemistry. Totally unique sound. Nothing sounded like CCR before CCR. Nothing. And this is an amazing sound. But that's their second album in '69. And as we continue, 1969, if that album's not enough, Bayou Country, look at this one, Green River. That comes out. And that's the first title track right on the album, Green River, Bad Moon Rising. I know I was just about going to have Elijah just tell a little story. He does have it. Maybe in the future we'll do that. That is an interesting story. Now at the radio station, when that song comes up, I get, should I play that or not? And I love the song. But yeah, a big hit. That's been in so many movies. That's where that song's been in several movies. Bad Moon Rising, big hit for them. And the song before that, it's called Tombstone Shadow. Uh-oh. That's then we go on and look at this, Commotion. Wow, what another fantastic. That song was released, I believe, as a single, and that was a fairly big hit. And if that's not enough, Lodi, one of their greatest songs, that's released off this album. Stuck in a Lodi again. And unbelievable. Wow. What an album. And Commotion, Lodi. And this is 1969, mind you. And again, like I say, if that's not enough, they come out with this Willie and the Poor Boys. My goodness. And let's check out the songs on this album. That's pretty amazing. In 1 year, John Fogerty wrote most of these hits, or all of them actually, that were released. Down in the Corner, Willie and the Poor Boys, the whole thing with that album. Yeah, Down in the Corner, big hit. And they do a fantastic job of the old song Cotton Fields. Beach Boys do that too, and also CCR do that. And Don't Look Now, another great tune. That's an album cut off this album. And my favorite song off this particular album, I can't get enough of it, and I will play this soon on the radio station. I got to play this song. It Came Out of the Sky. That is just a driving song, pure CCR sounding guitar, John Fogerty vocals, fantastic song. Poor Boy Shuffle, another great tune off that album, and Fortunate Son. And we know what that song's about, and just listen to the lyrics. And if you listen to the lyrics of the song, you'll know what it's about. The thing about the CCR, the music matched the lyrics so well, especially during this song. It's crazy. Here's a great version, Midnight Special. That's a cover they do. Let the Midnight Special shine its light on you. Yeah, that's what a version that. Check that one out also. And not only did CCR do, John Fogerty, he wrote all the songs, pretty much all of them. And we'll get to some of them he didn't write later on here. But he wrote all those hits. That's amazing songwriting, folks, when you can do that. Yeah, Midnight Special, they nailed it. And that ends 1969. 3 albums, and look at all those hits off that one album. Just incredible. And I remember the first time I heard this, I was at a friend's house. Cosmos Factory, 1970. And I looked at the album, and they're kind of like they're in a gym riding bikes and treadmills and stuff. Well, back then now if you look at it, it's 1970. But another great album. Traveling Bands on that particular album. That is just a killer track. Very fast. Don't recommend anybody playing that on drums. Very quick song, very fast. Looking Out My Back Door, another hit. Traveling Band, another hit. Up Around the Bend, another hit. My goodness, Who'll Stop the Rain, another hit. Before You Accuse Me, another blues song, classic blues number that they covered very well. And what else? Run Through the Jungle, another very popular CCR song off that album, Cosmos Factory, 1970. And I got to say, after 1970, yeah, things begin to sour a little bit within the band. Then their next album was Pendulum. That album, I think it's 1970 or 71. I am not sure the exact date, but however, Pagan Baby, the song, you first hear off that album, Pagan Baby. And great tune. Hey Tonight, another hit they released, another hit, and a great song that is. And one of my all-time favorite CCR songs, Have You Ever Seen the Rain? Coming down sunny on a sunny day. Great song. They released off that album. That's one of my all-time favorite CCR songs. And It's Just a Thought, another tune that wasn't released off this album, but a great tune. And they do a remake, all like, I believe, 8 minutes and something seconds of Heard It Through the Grapevine. And there's like this huge, long guitar solo in it. So is it, radio stations would not play it for the most part. It's too long. Then it goes into that long lead solo. But I love that version of Heard It Through the Grapevine. Totally different than Marvin Gaye's Gladys Knight and the Pips. Totally different version. This is more of a rock kind of version, but they pulled it off. They're CCR. So that ends 1970, and we go on to their last album now. Here's where things get, and if I had to pick their worst album that I rate, A, B, C, D, I'd rate it maybe a C at best, because they wanted more creative. Stu Cook, bass player for the band, Tom Fogerty, John's brother, was not on this album. They were already disagreeing over many things, and he had left CCR, but Stu Cook was with him, and Doug Clifford, the drummer. And Doug Clifford and Stu Cook, and they all wanted to write songs and be a partnership in the band, not John Fogerty writing all the hits and all the songs and the arrangements and all that. So, but this album does show John Fogerty did give in. So okay, he pretty much, I'm going to play some rhythm guitar, write some tunes, but I feel that John Fogerty's heart was not in this album. Although he wrote, I think, 3 songs off it, Stu Cook wrote some songs, and they split evenly. And then Doug Clifford wrote some songs. Stu Cook did one song. What is it? There's one out of here, not too bad. Door to Door. That's it. That's a pretty good song. And I believe Stu Cook wrote that. And Sweet Hitchhiker was a hit off this album from 72. I remember hearing that in jukeboxes all over the place. But as an album, it just didn't, I think it sold pretty well, actually, but the critics just ripped it apart, this album. There's a lot of bad songs. There's 3 or 4 really bad songs off this album, and John Fogerty did not write any of them. He was the guy in the band, man. That voice, without his voice, are you kidding? I mean, it's just, you ever hear a lot of CCR songs or a fan at all, and John Fogerty's just got that voice and that guitar sound, but the others wanted to create, that creative ability to do some writing and stuff, but it didn't work. Didn't work. And that was 1972, folks. 4 years of recording. That was their very last album for CCR. And I got to mention a song, one of their, if you have underrated slice, okay, it would be Someday Never Comes. Great song. John Fogerty. I think that was released as a single, and that is a fantastic song that John Fogerty wrote. Someday Never Comes. Great, great song. And now here's something interesting here. 5 of their 3 songs peaked out at number 2 of their songs. Now, no, 5 of their songs peaked out at number 2. I mean, you really want that top notch number 1, right? But 5 at number 2, not bad though. I mean, no complaints, I don't think, from John Fogerty in that one. And none of their, they never had a number 1. Amazing. But they certainly had a lot of top 10 hits back in their day. But and then all the legalities started after they split up. Late 72, I think it was, and they copyright issues where bad contracts were signed. That whole thing. If you ever get a chance just to watch a documentary on CCR, and there are some good ones on YouTube because it's exhaustive. I mean, some of them are like an hour and a half, 2 hours long on their the fighting that went on for years. John Fogerty, of course, did some stuff in the 70s that really didn't get a lot of airplay, no traction until 85. Centerfold, Rock and Roll Girls, and he was back on top again. I was so glad when he finally went on top again back in the mid 1980s. But underrated slice, Someday Never Comes. That's off the Mardi Gras album from 72. That was their last one. Mardi Gras was called. And my favorite slice. Oh boy, oh man. I'm going to go with, if I had to pick one song, okay, you only can pick one. Probably Fortunate Son, just because of the message that I like. The lyrics off that particular tune, and the music's great too. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed this. There's a little bit of information for you on the career. Certainly edited. There's a lot more to it, but just giving you kind of a rundown of just all the great songs that this band put out. And the other members, like I said before, kind of felt like they were a backup band to John Fogerty. But the rhythm section, drumming, everything, it just fit. Great chemistry within the band. So that is that. Again, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I gave you my favorite slice and underrated slice. Someday Never Comes. Yeah, check out that album too as well. And there you go. That is another edition of Licorice Pizza. Peace out.